Today we have the pleasure of meeting with Michael Barner. He's President and CEO of Pipeline Manager. Welcome, Michael. Michael, can you tell us why is forecasting so challenging for all sales leaders?
I think one of the biggest problems that I see with all of the people that I deal with is the reliance on fantasy. When people are asking salespeople to take time out of their day to guess a probability, to say this is their upside and this is their commit, you're asking them to basically become really comfortable making stuff up. They don't know what the percentage is. They're just trying to give people an answer because there isn't really an answer coming from the client. And often you're giving probabilities even early in the pipeline. And so what you end up with is, at the end of the day, an incredible number of forecasted deals that don't close. CSO Insights last year said 80% of forecasted deals wouldn't close. Well, it just makes perfect sense. So really, as far as one of the biggest frustrations, it's that you don't have any place to go when you really want to be honest. And the only person who knows who's going to close a deal is the client. So then you need to step back and go, all right, what's going on here? Where are forecasts working? And where they're working is where you've got a quality sales process in place that goes beyond the fact that you've got a series of stages. Those stages are meaningless. Again, we're back to the fantasy. Yeah, person X thinks we're in the third stage, person Y thinks we're in the fifth stage. How do you add definition to that? So if you can take a sales process and create a system where that sales process is regimented and yet flexible. You want something where people can say, yeah, this is what it means to be in this stage. And in order to get to the next stage, I need to do this, this, and this. And yet it still needs to be flexible enough that it doesn't stop people when the customer says, no, I really need to move to what is your third stage right now.
Michael, could you describe the most effective process that leads to greater forecasting accuracy?
As far as what I've seen, it's the process that begins with sitting back and going, how is it we can hear the customer best? And that means setting up questions that are easy for every salesperson to remember when they go on particular calls. Now, when you think of what CRM does, that's a great big form chock full of different fields, and nobody knows what needs to be answered where in the sales process. But if you're looking for a quality forecast, what you're looking for is the things that help any salesperson, no matter how new, hear the buying signals that the customer may actually be trying to let them know. So if you can set up a system where you're able to hear that customer, set up the questions that hear the customer properly, then you can set up those gates in each sales stage that say, okay, if the customer is on board with us here, I mean, it begins with qualification. Then it goes on to the nurturing, the evolution of that process, and the customer should be telling you in their own way, yes, I want you to meet this person. Yes, I think we're going to bring this to purchasing. No, I've got a real problem here. We're about to reorg. All these things that tell you whether or not this thing belongs in the stage that it's in. And once you can start doing that, then you can start improving the forecast.
Martin, could you describe the questions that salespeople should ask in order to get some greater clarity in sales forecasting?
If you are selling for Coca-Cola, the people that you're talking to are going to be very different than if you're selling CAT scan machines. So I think really it comes from talking to, first of all, your best salespeople and finding out what is it that makes them move forward in the pipeline and how can they do it more quickly so that they hear that customer better, and then get that out to the rest of the team. But as far as just having off-the-shelf questions, I can't say that I can help you with that one.
What is your recommendation how to approach a customer to find out about their true budget situation?
It really depends on where we are in the pipeline. I mean, first of all, when you're in the nurturing phase, you want to be asking them, is there budget for this year, or are you going to have access to those funds? Then when you're moving forward in the pipeline, you're starting to get close to doing some of those things that have to do with checking out whether they've got proper credit, They're going to hopefully be letting you know that certain things are being put in place. You need to ask whether it's going to be a problem to get the PO or what sorts of pieces need to happen in order to get that. You're not specifically asking them for the PO, but you are giving them the opportunity to tell you, boy, it's too soon for that. Or say, you know, we really have to start putting that team together so that we know where the budgeting is going to go. And then at the end of the pipeline, at that point, you're into the real close questions.
Michael, we all know that timing is very important in a sales process. How do you suggest that salespeople go about getting in sync with the buyer's purchasing process so they can manage the speed?
Well, again, I think it goes back to the proper questioning. And if you are nurturing properly, and if the leads that are coming to you have been nurtured properly, you should already have a sense of the urgency of any particular deal. And then it's up to you, and I'm not sure if you're a fan of the challenger sale, but it's up to you to come up with those challenging questions that help the customer to understand that there's a bigger ROI that's going to move this thing forward that much faster, and create a sense of urgency, as well as test whether there's pushback on that sense of urgency, so that you've got the opportunity to go, no, these people are going to be on a slow march, and that's going to help you to decide, hopefully, among more than just a single sales process. You want to have multiple processes in place that adjust to what the customer is telling you their sense of urgency is.
Well, thank you, Michael. That was very insightful. We are going to continue our conversation in part 2, where we talk more about how to define and manage a sales process. Thank you, Michael.